Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. Just returning to you for this. Let me fix the chat real quick. Give me 1 second. I gotta moderate the chat for a moment. Give me just a second. Go to my stream real quick. All right, it's done. So, how you guys doing tonight on Tuesday, July 1st, of the third quarter of 2025? So, in this stream, we're going to talk about the second quarter of 2025 talk recap. So, there is something I want to address real quick first before we get started with this stream, just so you guys understand why you guys have been seeing things and videos about me. Which, keep in mind, don't believe what they say. Because from what I've noticed and what they weren't telling you is the full context of the story. So what really happened was I left a private stream, on these two individuals that made videos about me recently. And basically they twisted the whole truth around to their narrative to make it seem like that I was the one at fault. And that is not true. That is not even the whole story. So what I'm going to say is that there was an individual, which he will not be named because he will not be named. It was someone I really dislike that came on their panel talking crap about me. And then what happened is I basically was asked by that individual that made a video on me recently saying, "Do you want to come back in?" I hesitated for a second because I wasn't sure if I wanted to at first. Then I just made the choice to come back in on my own accord. And that was on me because I should have not joined back in. But here's the thing. When I joined back in, he was talking crap about me. And then I came back in. Sorry, I'm getting a notification from Instagram messaging. So I came back in. We had an argument for a while. So basically, what happened is the problem that happened was where those two individuals that made videos on me recently, not mentioning their names, they know who they are, basically said nothing in the stream and let us bicker for 5 minutes or so. And then I said something to where it escalated to the point where I said something about to that individual I really don't like, saying, "You never had children," and he said, "He'll find me and kill me." Those were his words. That is not what really went down with what the story they're telling you is. And all I'm going to say is that if you do watch their videos, don't believe what they're saying because it's a bunch of bullshit. And a lot of things, and the truth is getting twisted around on their part. Basically, "Hey, Josue, what's up? Welcome to the stream." So yeah, um, from the videos they made on me, I was willing to extend an olive branch to give them another chance, but I didn't. And the reason why I didn't is because they they made the whole story in their mind. They think I'm the bad guy, and I'm really not a bad person. I've made some mistakes. Yes, on YouTube, I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'll take accountability for that. Everyone makes mistakes, even on YouTube, even in life. It happens. We've got to learn and grow from it. But the one thing I will not tolerate is people that want to twist my words around to make it seem like their narrative and truth is the honest way, or however I'm trying to articulate that. Um, so, yeah, that individual did say, I'll find you and kill you. And I got really pissed and scared after he said that. So, they're already gonna know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on, basically. That's all I'm gonna do. Oh, thank you, Clean Stash. But yeah, what people are not understanding is that they never heard the full story of what really happened on that private stream Sunday night. And it was a private stream, it wasn't public. They're leaving out details and twisting the truth around and blaming others that had nothing to do with that stream. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a pretty popular video. Thanks for watching a Clean Stash. So, what happened, Brian? You need backup? Nah, I'm okay. Hey, Miss Incognita. Welcome to the stream. So, I will get to the albums I want to talk about. Well, yeah, we have been, but I think we were growing apart for a while. Um, not politic-wise. Okay, thank you, Clean Stash. I appreciate it. Um, but no, I'm good. It's not anything bad. It's just so I will say that this person at later on in the stream did say that he said it out of anger and he was mad and he never he never apologized for saying it, by the way. So you know that he was lying his ass off. So I don't forgive him at all. He can go his way, I'll go my way, and we'll leave it at that. So will those other two. They'll go their way, I'll go my way. And by the way, even if they do make profit off that Night of the Killer Brewskis thing that a certain YouTuber made, um, keep the money. I don't want it. You can have it for yourself. So I only did it because I thought we were at a good understanding with our friendship and all that. But no, it turned out they sided over other people than what really happened. So all I'm going to say is for the rest of the stream, it's going to be about albums, by the way. Um, he's okay. You're okay, Clean Stash. Thanks for supporting the channel too, by the way. Which, honestly, I would go to them, but yeah, just give me a few. Um, yeah, I'll tell you in just a second. I gotta go to my Discord name for a moment. So, my Discord is Brian Delivers You Goods 30. So, look up that tag and you should be able to find me. And I can add you to my group if you want. But honestly, I'm just it sucks because you have people you want to be cool with for a while, and then you find out who your real true friends are at the end of the day. And like I said, say it don't work. Said it don't work. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the name I had. Um, Let me look up my handle. JoJo's Assassins. Okay, I'll add you. Just give me a second. Let me look for you. Um, Alright, I sent you. So who are you still cool with? Right now it's very limited. Um, so right now the only ones I'm cool with are basically a guy that I'm cool with, Lennon's Kitchen, which shout out goes to him. He's definitely subscribed to his channel. Uh, Mr. Dirt Mason, which I'm cool with him too. I rarely talk to him, but I'm still cool with him because he's a good friend too. Oh, thanks. Are you gonna be in his stream again, by the way? It's gonna be a little bit. So, yeah. Um, yeah. Thank you, Clean Stash, for letting me come in your panel. But yeah. I'm gonna continue with the stream. By the way, just give me a second. Um, but with everything that's happened, you got a good squad. You like it. Oh, thank you. Can you explain why he isn't streamed? Oh, I don't know. Lennon's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. Um, and there's do your thing, bro. Okay, thank you. So what's gonna happen in the stream is basically I wanted to say that for the beginning of the stream. Didn't want anyone to get the whole truth twisted around. Wanted to come clean in this stream and tell you how my side of things and how it went down. And I was very upset. So I wasn't really happy. Hey Jasmine D, welcome to the stream. So yeah, we're gonna continue with the first two albums for the fourth quarter. I gotta go look into the first two albums. So because man, the fourth quarter went by like a blur, by the way. So the first two albums of quarter two to start it off was Bleed From Within Zenith, which did have pretty good tracks, by the way, because now I'm just going to continue with the stream as it's scheduled and what I wanted to talk about. Quick question. What you thinking about? Oh yeah, I heard about that. I wish him nothing but the best. I know there was something going on with him and Hypervale after he parted ways with them, or they parted ways with Brian Bergkaiser, which was pretty sad to hear that. But I still like Hypervale, even though there's been some things happening with how their direction is for Hypervale now, because it's mostly Eric singing. And okay, will they find a new lead singer? Oh, it's basically yeah. Um yeah, Eric did do amazing with his vocals in Into Hell. And yep, we got our first person in here that wanted to. So yeah, so back to the topic at hand. Zenith by Bleed From Within was a very strong record, by the way. I was very impressed with what album they put out just recently. It was very strong, and oh yeah, he kind of has. But yeah, so basically, there was 11 tracks on their new album. It was quite a great record, by the way. I was really impressed with In Place of Your Halo. That was my favorite one. God Complex, A Hope in Hell. Um, there were some other tracks on here that were very strong too. Hands of Sin featuring Silosis. Oh, Discharge Never Again. Cool. That's cool. But yeah, Bleed From Within, Zenith was the first second quarter album that I listened to for months April to June. And I was pretty impressed with that record. So, a very strong record. Now, the next one I know has a lot of people that did not like my review on Thornhill Bodies, which I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't like how it was sounding overall. And I was just, yeah, I was just very disappointed with the direction and how I know they were trying with a heavier sound, and I get that. It wasn't that it was terrible, it was just bad. Well, it was bad. I can't say that it was terrible. There were songs on here like, did you like the two songs President made? Oh yeah, definitely. They were very good. If you have not seen my Josue. If you have not seen my, what is it? Sorry about the messages. Yeah, if you have not seen the best and worst songs of June 2025 video, it's on that list. Definitely go check it out. That's what I was trying to say. I got distracted by a notification. Sorry. But other than that, yeah, Thornhill Bodies just, there was not really a lot of great material on here. Most of it was disappointing. So I was very displeased with that record. Next record is Mark Morton Without the Pain album. This one was average. This was an April 11th release, and I thought there were some interesting tracks. The Hell and Back featuring Jaron Johnson was very interesting of a song for sure. So yeah, and then there was other ones like Brother that was pretty interesting. It was a more country rock, bluesy kind of record that Mark Morton wanted to do for his second album. Yeah. Oh, Silos. Yeah, that was a good one. By Starset for sure. Yeah, In the Name of the Father, I listen to that 30 times a day. LOL. I repeat that in Silos. Yeah, In the Name of the Father was a good song by President. That was a very strong track. I was very impressed with President's newest singles. So, yeah, for Without the Pain, that was a average record. I mean, there was not every song that was great on this, but I was very impressed. Excuse my yawning. I've been going through some yawn stuff lately. Have you heard the new songs? I personally like Rage. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I don't know who Rage is, by the way, but is it a band? Because I didn't, I didn't watch. I listened. President, that is. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, President is a pretty good band. Um, did they make a new song or is it just uh oh nice. I did not know that they did. There are probably new songs that we're going to be getting in the near future. But to continue on, Mark Morton Without the Pain, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And for the first two albums, the Bleed From Within Zenith was a 9.5 out of 10. And Thornhill was a 5 out of 10 for Bodies. So yeah, that was what I was gonna mention because I forgot to mention what I rated it. It's just the Thornhill one was the most disappointing. Um, yeah, they are big numbers, but that's kind of my rating system. I rank it. I give it a ranking, and I just rank it from if it's bad, it's gonna get under a 5.5 or lesser. If it's okay, it's 6 or 6.5. It's in that range. Okay to man is 6.5 and 6. And then basically decent to good is 7 to 8. 7, 7.5, and 8. And then the best albums are. Oh, hey, EG Gaming. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, Mark Morton Without the Pain was what I was gonna tell you guys about. That was an interesting record. There was a few albums. There was an album I was gonna listen to on April 18th, but I never got around to reviewing it, and that was the As It Is Never Happy Ever After 10th Anniversary Edition. I didn't listen to that yet, but there is going to be a review very soon on my channel about that, and I'll probably mention it. I know it was something I wanted to put on the second quarter of 2025 talk recap, but I never got to do that basically. But the next record is Mayday Parade with Sweet. That was a pretty good record. I was very impressed with how it sounded overall. I think By the Way was my favorite song. 4,000 Days plus the ones I don't remember. That was a pretty strong track too. I really enjoyed how not starting up any drama, by the way. EG. Okay. Yeah, I had to give you guys something I wanted to talk about at the beginning of uh the video, and if you haven't seen the beginning of the stream, I will tell you how it happened. But I've already illustrated it already, but to move on, basically I'm gonna do my thing and they can do their thing. But Mayday Parade Suite is a very strong record. I was very impressed with the song, like Who's Laughing Now featuring Knuckle Puck was an interesting song for sure. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was very strong. Who We Are and Natural was my favorite songs. And yeah, this record did get an 8.5. I was very impressed with it. And yes, I will be reviewing in the next few days the Never Happy Ever After 10th Anniversary by As It Is, the band. I didn't get around to reviewing it sooner. I never heard this record. Oh, Mayday Parade Suite? Or the one I just mentioned, the As It Is band. Because, yeah, so, yeah, basically, yeah, sorry about the dings. So, yeah, the next one that I'm going to mention. Oh, Mayday Parade Suite. Yeah, Mayday Parade's a very strong band for sure. We heard Nothing More's newer stuff. I think the newest album was last year, though. LOL. Yeah, I think it was. But I was very impressed with Nothing More's 2023 record, which was Void Eternal. That was a really strong record. I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed the follow-up Dark Magic, and that was an interesting one. And after that, there was a Hell or High Water that was kind of average, but then he dropped a cult classic in December, and that was, I didn't listen to that fully, but I should have given it a shot when I had the chance last year. Yeah, Nothing More is an acquired taste. Oh, you're talking about. Oh, Nothing More. Okay, yeah, I got it mixed with Nothing Nowhere. Sorry about that. Yeah, Nothing More is a very good band, by the way. Um, yeah, and they dropped a deluxe edition for their new album. Sorry, I got it so mixed up with. Yeah, Hoops. um, yeah, it's just brain fog basically. So, yeah, Nothing More's Carnal record was very strong. It wasn't as good as Spirits, but it was still very strong in its own way. But to get back on track, the next album is Ghost with Skeleton. Um, yeah, it was. I get brain rot from all the time. Yeah, brain fog all the time. Yeah, y'all listen to too much stuff, bro. LOL. Oh yeah, it happens. But Ghost Skeleton, Peacefield was a very strong song off that the start of the record. I was very impressed with Ghost Skeleton. Even though a lot of people said it was not one of their best records, I was like, this is kind of a contender for album of the year. It's very strong. I think Tobias Forge's singing was very strong in this record. I mean, granted, there's been some controversy with Tobias Forge with how he criticizes other bands and all that. Yeah, but honestly, granted, I just, yeah. Yeah, I'm aware. But yeah, to so yeah, um, whatever. But yeah, Ghost Skeleton was a very strong record, by the way. Lacrima was a very strong song. You have Satanized, which honestly I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about that song, but I did enjoy it for how it was. Guiding Lights, De Profundis Borealis was interesting. I think Missila Amori was my favorite. Yeah, I know. I know they will. Josue. Yeah, I know they're doing a stream right now, but whatever. Uh, Mark of the Evilone, Evil One, basically. Marks of the Evil One. Um, and yeah, there was a lot of strong tracks, and I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I was very impressed with Ghost Skeleton's new record, so very strong material. Um, so the next one is Landmarks, The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. This one was a good album. I mean, there was a few critiques I had with this record, like The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. That was a good song, but there were some moments I wasn't feeling for the singer's vocals at times with his regular vocals. Whoa, gotta give it a listen. Um, but other than that, you have songs like Creature, A Line in the Dust. Most of the tracks I gave like regular good ratings, pretty strong ratings, or hit or miss ratings, like above decent ones too. Blood Red was an above decent track. It was like a 4.25 out of 5 I gave it. But other than that, yeah, 8 out of 10 for The Darkest Place I've Ever Been is what I'm giving that album. It's a strong record, but it's uh not one of the best records. It's just good in its own way. Caliban Back from Hell was not an album I listened to yet, but it is on my list of albums I want to listen to when I get around to it. But to move on, we're going to go to the next record that was in May. This one is going to be a headache to talk about, but Puddle of Mud Kiss the Machine album. Um, I think from what I listened to, I was very displeased with this record. It is a bad, bad album. So Butamus is one of the worst tracks on the record. Not one of the worst, but it's bad. Um, I just can't believe Wes Scantlin went along with this cringy garbage. And Free was another one that I'm not a fan of. In Love with the Dancer was cringy. Back Against the Wall was cringy. I just wasn't a fan of some of these tracks. The worst song was Baby You the Best. That was the worst track for sure. So, yeah. And then Win 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 was the closing track, and that was horrible. So, I was very displeased with Puddle of Mud Kiss the Machine. It's one of their worst albums. It's going to be on my worst albums of 2025 by the end of the year. It's a 1.5 out of 10. I hated it. Alright, next is Sleep Token with Even in Arcadia, the one I was going to mention, by the way. Very strong record. I've come back to this record quite a lot, as of recently, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed with how, Vessel's vocals sound overall. It's, oh yeah, but to be honest, uh, y'all's have fun, gotta go eat. Oh yeah, that's fun. Um, I'll catch you later. Bye, EG. So, Sleep Token Even in Arcadia, Look to Windward was the strongest song on the record, by the way. And probably one of my favorite tracks for sure. I think when you get to Emergence, that was really good, but the breakdowns in Look to Windward for the starting track was very strong. Vessel's screaming potential was very good, and just overall, it blended very well, this track, with how it was sounding. I love their new album. Yeah, their new album was very good. Not a song I dislike. I mean, the only song was Past Self, and that was a good song, but it wasn't one of my favorites. But in in retrospect, I think Even in Arcadia was a very good record. It's going to be probably in the top 10 of the best albums of 2025, but I think this is great material they put out. I mean, it took a while to grow on me because I wasn't sure if I was going to feel. I actually love Past Self, LOL, even if it's pop. Yeah, I can respect your decision on that, and your opinion on that. But to be honest, yeah, I think, yeah, Caramel was a strong track. Then you got Dangerous, Emergence. Even in Arcadia, the title track was really good. Provider was good. Damocles was my favorite, by the way. Gethsemane was a very good track, and so was the last track, Infinite Bass. So 9.5 out of 10 for this record. Still a strong track. Then we get to Tillian Pearson's Vertigo album. This one was okay. I was impressed with the first track. After that, it kind of took a slippery slope with Angel. Godsend was kind of annoying. It wasn't terrible, but it just. I wasn't feeling for how Tillian Pearson was singing and trying to shout sing in that track. It was kind of cringy, but Bad Advice, the opening track, is very good by Tillian Pearson. So I was very impressed with that track overall. So yeah, Bad Advice was a good track. Imitation was alright. Pieces Back Together was a good track. Um, there was Days in Hell was a strong track for sure. Vertigo, the closing track, was alright for sure. But other than that, I think when you get to uh, the last half of the record, it does alright for the most part. But granted, yeah, 6.5 out of 10 material. It's an okay record. I mean, I don't really like what Tillian Pearson did, and the allegations brought about him, but um, I think he was kind of okay for this record. It's not great material, but it's not the worst material that I've heard. So 6.5 out of 10. Next is Hardy Country EP. This is a country artist's EP. He does like country rock stuff. Buck on the Wall was the first track. It was alright. It was a pretty good song. Then you have Car That Drove You Away, which was a pretty good track too. Girl with a Gun was alright. Luckiest Man Alive was a good song. And then finally, Favorite Country Song was the closing track. This one was a good EP. It wasn't one of his strongest, but it was good material for what I listened to. 8 out of 10 for this country EP. After that, we're getting into the May 16th releases. We already just started with one of the May 16th albums. The next one is Sleep Theory Afterglow. Now, this was a pretty good record for something to come out in the middle of May for sure. Static was a strong track. Hourglass has grown on me for sure. Sorry, I'm slurring with my wording. Grown on me. For a small band. Oh, okay. Yeah. 3 was a very strong track. And then Fallout was pretty good in its own way. Stuck in My Head was pretty good. Gravity was a good song. They really put out a good album. Yeah, definitely. Then you have Afterglow, which was a good song. Then the rest of the tracks did very well for sure. I was very impressed with the last few tracks. Gravity was my fave. Yeah, it was a good song. I wouldn't say it wasn't one of my favorites, but it was good. It was a good song. So it was an 8.5 out of 10 material. It is going to be on my best albums of 2025, this Sleep Theory album. I was very impressed with it. Bury Tomorrow, Will You Haunt Me with That Same Patience? Very strong material. I mean, the last 2 songs were kind of hit or miss ones. To Dream to Forget was a very good track. Villain Arc, very strong track for sure. And you have Wasteland, that was a pretty good song. And then What If I Burn was my personal favorite track from Bury Tomorrow. After that, it's Forever the Night. That was a good song. What song y'all talking about? It's by a metalcore band, Bury Tomorrow, and their album Will You Haunt Me with That Same Patience. Unlistened to, Fit for a King. Oh, you don't listen to them, or you do? Because Fit for a King's a very good band, by the way. I was very impressed with Fit for a King. I gotta check it out. So, yeah, with all that, pretty much from what I'm gonna talk about with the rest of the the rest of the album. I think Waiting was a very strong track. Anyways, I painted today. Oh, nice, Miss Incognita. Oh, that's pretty cool. So yeah, Waiting, Silence Isn't Helping Us was a very strong track for sure. And you got other tracks like Yokai was a really good one. Found No Throne was a good song. And then Let Go and Paradox were my least favorites, but they were still alright tracks, so it was a 9 out of 10 record. It was a really good record. I recommend you guys check out Bury Tomorrow, Will You Haunt Me with That Same Patience. Very strong track. I was very impressed with that track for sure. And yeah, definitely strong material. Next is Linkin Park from Zero Deluxe Edition review. This was a good record for sure. It was good for the deluxe edition for what it offers. But to be honest, there were a few songs I had some critiques about. Like Up From the Bottom was a very strong track. It was probably their best track to date as a deluxe edition track from the album From Zero. And then you have other tracks like what is it? Unshatter, strong track for sure. Let You Fade was a very good one. Uh, but honestly, Let You Fade was a very good one. I think that was the best closing track for the deluxe edition. But there were some extra songs that were live songs, basically, for the record. But overall, The Emptiness Machine uh, live was a very strong track. Heavy as the Crown live was a good song, but not the best material. But it still was a good track. Uh, Over Each Other was a pretty good song. Art Picks or Walls. Oh, nice. So, Casualty, I think, was a good song. And then Two Faced was the closing um, track for the deluxe edition of From Zero. But overall, I think it's an 8 out of 10 material. It's still really good. It's just, I think the album itself is still going to get an 8.5 out of 10, but I don't think that From Zero, like, it was a pretty good record. It was a safe record, but it wasn't, like, one of my favorite albums of 2025 for a deluxe edition, which I know they dropped a deluxe edition for 2025. Yeah, it took them months to drop it. Maybe they should have waited a little bit. Uh, so overall, yeah, it is what it is. So the next release is House of Protection Outrun You All. It's an extended play. It's only like 7 songs. It's a short album, basically. 524 is the opening track. That was a good song. But then after that, it starts getting better with Afterlife, Godspeed, and I Need More Than This. Very strong tracks, by the way. I still enjoyed those songs for sure. Fire was a good track. Phasing Out and Slide Away was my favorite ones. Um, I started the painting since last week. Oh, nice, Miss Incognita. Uh, that's cool. So, in other words, it's 9 out of 10 material for House of Protection Outrun You All. Good song, very strong material. I recommend you guys check this album out if you have not listened to it. And next, we are talking about Hinder Back to Life. This was an album I didn't really. How's that been going? What you've been painting? Nice. Hinder Back to Life, like I said, um, it was a decent record. There were still some songs I was like iffy about, but overall, I think with what they offered for this track, it was all right for the most part. So yeah, um, it was a decent record. It wasn't like great material, but it'll be on the decent to good albums of 2025 by the end of the year. So 7 out of 10 material. There were some songs that I was like Bad Decisions. Yeah, that was a average track. Then you have Reminiscing You, mediocre track. Trying to Get Home. It was iffy, but all right, I guess. Next is Joe Jonas's next record. which is Music for People Who Believe in Love. Now, this was a pop record, and I was very impressed with how it sounded overall. Um, like the first track was good, Woven, which was an intro track, of course. Then you have like Parachute, that was a personal favorite track for sure. I was very impressed with that track. Work It Out, Only Love, Heart by Heart was a pretty good one. Honey Blonde was a pretty strong track. Velvet Sunshine was a pretty good one. I was very impressed with that one too. Then you have some other tracks that did good. What This Could Be and uh, What We Are was a pretty good one. So there was some pretty strong tracks. My Own Best Friend was a good track. It wasn't like personal favorite, but I think this record was a good record. I was very impressed with Joe Jonas' Music for People Who Believe in Love. So very impressed with that album. 8 out of 10 material. Now to talk about what's next. So yeah, what's next is gonna be Wolves at the Gate Wasteland. Now, granted, they made this track, this album basically. Uh, what they did was made a lot of interlude tracks for sure. And I think Wasteland Pain was a very strong track. Parasite was pretty good. Synthetic Sun was good. Wandering was a interlude track. Which they did do a lot of interlude songs, by the way. I would say I'd have to downgrade this record to like an 8.5 out of 10. It's a pretty good album, but it wasn't like best material. There were some strong tracks on here, granted, but they did drop a lot of interludes. That's the most disappointing aspect about the record. That it was a concept album, they were doing a lot of interludes for this record. And yeah, it was just it was a lot of fucking interludes and kind of was a headache to get through, but still was a pretty good record. I played it safe. 8.5 out of 10. Next record is Miley Cyrus Something Beautiful. Now, this was a May 30th album. I was impressed with some of this record. Granted, not every song is perfect on this record. You have songs like End of the World, that wasn't one of my favorites. More to Lose was good. Something Beautiful was good, but there was some mixing issues with some of that track. But execution wise, I think with how this record performed, it did a good job, and most of the tracks were pretty much highlights. I think Miley Cyrus pulled it off with this record to making it a good record to listen through. I mean, it's better than the last album, uh, Endless Summer Vacation, which that was an average record. This is a little bit of step up for her material, so very strong material. The next one is going to be, yeah, um, Within Destruction, Ani Metal. Uh, very strong material, by the way. I was very impressed with how this, well, I wouldn't say impressed. I would say I was very disappointed with this record. To recorrect what I was saying. Yeah, Within Destruction, Ani Metal. Just a headache of a record. The opening track is just disappointing. Demon Child was disappointing. Then you have Kanashi Bari. That was a bad song. I was very displeased with that. And there were some other tracks on here, like Automaton. Automaton was another bad one. Hide and Sick, which weird fucking title. So other than that, I love that Slowly Died. It was the worst track on the record. So I was very displeased with this record. It's going to be on my worst albums, unfortunately. And it was an album I reviewed June 2nd, but it was an April 11th release, by the way. I just forgot to review it that day because I didn't know if I wanted to review it, basically. It was an album I was debating on if I wanted to review or not. But other than that, yeah, it was disappointing material, so it was a yeah. Basically, the record got a 4.5 out of 10. The next album is, let's see, the next album. Turnstile Never Enough. Very strong record, by the way. I was very impressed with this record, for sure. It's probably one of the highlights of the year. Um, Never Enough, the title track is very strong. Soul was a good one. I was very impressed with this one. I Care was pretty good. Dreamin' was very good. Um, and then Light Design was pretty strong. It was a short track, but it was very good. So was Dole. Dole was very good with the drumming and guitar work. Very impressed with the majority of this record. And Sun Shower was pretty good. Look Out for Me. Ceiling was pretty good, but it had some critiques with how the mixing was sounding for that track with the lead singer's vocals. Um, but overall, I think Seeing Stars was very strong. Then Birds was very good. Slow Dive was my favorite one. Time is Happening. Pretty safe song, but it's alright. Magic Man was the closing track, which Turnstile Never Enough. Very strong material, by the way. 9.5 out of 10 for this record for sure. And then the next one is Rascal Flatts Life as a Highway Refueled Duets. This was a good release, but granted, there were some songs on here that I had some hit or miss moments with Fast Cars and Freedom featuring Jason Aldean. I mean, Jason Aldean was singing the majority of this track, and granted, it wasn't the best song, honestly, to get through the record, to be honest. So, yeah, from what I watched or what I listened to with Rascal Flatts, Life is a Highway, uh, Refueled Duets, I think it's good material. There were some songs like I Dare You featuring Jonas Brothers. That was good for how it sounded. My Wish featuring Carly Pierce was pretty good. Um, Mayberry featuring Blake Shelton was a pretty safe track. Not great material, but good for how it sounded. So, and then you have Stand featuring Brandon Lake. That was all right. Summer Nights featuring Ashley Cook. That was pretty good. What Hurts the Most featuring Backstreet Boys. Ryan Jesse is dropping his debut album in 18 days. I'm excited. Oh, nice. Uh, yeah. Hopefully that does well, Max. Uh, so wish that artist nothing but the best. So yeah, Yours If You Want It featuring Jordan Davis was pretty good, safe track. But overall, Rascal Flatts' Life as a Highway Refueled Duets, all right record. It's safe. Yeah, it was good material. I mean, granted, it's fine for how it is. He's an independent country artist from Nashville. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check into him when I get the chance. You said 18 days from now? That would be July 18th or something like that, or somewhere around there. But yeah, That was 8 out of 10 material for Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway Refuel Duets. The next one, I did this one later, a week and a half later, because I know it came out May 30th. Someone recommended me to do Stray from the Path Clockwork, which I did review that album. Pretty good album. I'll give it that. Granted, it wasn't like my favorite record because Kubrick Stare was very strong. I really enjoyed the vocals in that track. I really enjoyed. If you enjoy Papa Roach, then you will enjoy his music. Okay. Yeah, I do like Papa Roach to a degree. It just depends on the song. He's similar to Hardy. Oh, okay, yeah. Then I'll probably like it. Um, but honestly, Fuck Them All to Hell was a very strong track. It was very juvenile of a song, but still pretty strong for how it sounded in its own way. So, it was pretty strong material. And then you got Shot Caller, pretty good track. Can't Help Myself, Clockwork featuring Landmarks. That was a pretty strong track too. The next one's is Shocker, which was the last best track on the record. Then there's some other songs like Bodies in the Dark featuring Poison the Well. Pretty good song, but not great material. Can I Have Your Autograph? That was a pretty safe song. And then You're Not That Guy, good track. A Life in 4 Chapters, pretty good. So overall, it was 8.5 out of 10 material. It was a record that came out May 30th of this year, but I enjoyed it for how it sounded for the most part. It was alright. Next album is a June 13th release by Buckcherry, Roar Like Thunder. Now, this was a pretty good album. Well, good album, basically, to recorrect myself. I think the title track was very good. Most of these songs were pretty strong in their own way. I mean, granted, there were some tracks like Roar Like Thunder was very strong. When the Sun Goes Down was pretty good in its own way. Come On, pretty good. Talking About Sex, which it was still pretty good for how it sounded. I did enjoy it to a degree. Uh, and then there were some other tracks I enjoyed, like Blackout was a good song in its own way. I Go Boom, pretty good. Set It Free, pretty good. Hello Goodbye was. I mean, it got a little repetitious, that track, but it was alright. The Machine Gun and Let It Burn were the closing 2 tracks, and it's overall 8 out of 10 material for Buckcherry's new record. It's a good album. Definitely an interesting rock album to listen through the summer. Um, and then the next ones are. They're going to be June 20th records. I'm just seeing what else I reviewed in the meantime, because I did a lot of marathon studio album reviews during May and June for Judas Priest Iron Maiden, which I'm finishing up Iron Maiden, don't worry. I'm going to finish that up and do the last 3 thumbnails myself. But overall, yeah, Youngblood Idols is the next album. Hello Heaven Hello was an average listen for sure. I was very impressed with that track. Idols Part 1, alright song. It did a good job for how it sounded with Youngblood singing. But that 9-minute and 6-second track, Hello Heaven Hello, was a very strong track, for sure. Okay, Josue. You as well. You have a good night, too. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be wrapping up soon anyway, so I'm almost done. Then you have Lovesick Lullaby. That one was disappointing, but it was because of the rapping aspect of the track that kind of bothered me a little. I didn't hate the drumming or guitar work. That was very strong and upbeat. But the problem I had with the track is that it's disappointing to meh. So, Zombie was a very strong track. The Greatest Parade, very good track. You have other songs like Change, that was a pretty safe track. And that was like 4.75 out of 5 material. Monday Murder, very strong track. Ghost was a 6-minute and 26-second track, but it was very good. Fire was pretty safe. Then War, Idols Part 2, and Supermoon. Idols Part 2 was a short interlude track to going into the final closing track, Supermoon. But it's overall very strong material. So 7.5 out of 10 for this record. I think it did very well in its own way. It's held its own. It did better than the Youngblood self-titled album, which I think this was a better offering from Youngblood. I was very impressed with this record. And it's an album I can definitely come back and listen to from time to time. Josh should not be rapping. Buckcherry is a glam metal band that are new metal. Troll Swag has doxed your mother. What? Thanks for letting me know. So, yeah. Pretty much, granted, yeah. From the next, release is Bad Flower, No Place Like Home. No Place Like Home. It was a good record, for the most part. I was very impressed with some tracks on this record, like Haunting You. Detroit was my favorite one. The rest of the songs did good in their own way. They were very strong releases. Let's not bring drama into the stream, Eddie. Yeah, I know. Which thank you, Eddie, for letting me know, by the way. But yeah, it's really not important. I know those people are gonna be dicks, but whatever. Moving on. But it's 8 out of 10 material for Bad Flower, No Place Like Home. It was a very strong release. Linkin Park did it better, right, Max Palmer? Yeah. But other than that, Bad Flower, No Place Like Home. It was a good album. Sorry, I was stretching my leg. I haven't listened to Bad Flower since 2019. I lost interest in them. I might give them another chance. Yeah, I would check out the second studio album. This Is How the World Ends, and then you can go to No Place Like Home after that, because this was their third album. But This Is How the World Ends was very good material, for sure. So the next one was a Keke Palmer, Just Keke album, which we're almost done, by the way, with these albums that I'm reviewing. I think I got 2 more to talk about, then I'm wrapping up the stream. So Keke Palmer, Just Keke was bad. I don't know. I like her vocals from time to time for her R&B vocals, but I was very displeased with Keke Palmer's Just Keke album. It had a lot of interlude tracks. It was a very short record, and I was very less interested in this record because most of the songs, like T-Boo, was bad. My Confession was a ripoff to the Usher song Confession, which I was very displeased with that. And overall, there was some tracks that I was so cringing at. So, wasn't a fan of Just Keke. It's a 5 out of 10. It's going to be on my worst albums of 2025 for sure. I liked Bad Flower's first album back in 2019. Yeah, that was a pretty good record. Very strong material. So the next album is the June 27th release, which was a recent one. Hot Milk Corporation Pop album. I think this record's grown on me. I just didn't keep up with them after that. Yeah, that's understandable, Max. It's just there's some bands you can keep up with and some you can't. But overall, How Do I Make the Devil Fall Asleep? Very strong track for sure. Insubordinate Angerland was a very good one too. Um, Overall, The American Machine. I really enjoyed Insubordinate Angerland by Hot Milk. Very strong track for sure. Um, I was very impressed with that one, with how Jim's screaming in the bridge, "God save the king, dose me in kerosene" lyric, which was a pretty messed up lyric, but it's still executed very well, that track. But overall, The American Machine was a very strong track. It was a little political, but a little on the nose, but very strong of a track for how it executed. And then you get to Hell Is On Its Way, pretty safe song. Hot Milk reminds me of Paramore. Yeah, I understand Jasmine D. Yeah. Hot Milk is kind of that band you can really appreciate with this new album, but they tend to do some pop thematic songs towards the end of the record, which is not terrible, but it's kind of cringy. Kind of ruins the execution of the record. But overall, we will talk about that in a second before I close out the Hot Milk album. And then I'll have one more album to talk about, and that'll be it. But overall, I think Swallow This, very strong track. Machine Elves, we are getting a new Papa Roach until 2026. Yeah, it's. I had a feeling we would. I just didn't see another Papa Roach album happening later this year. Wish it was possible, but this is what they're doing right now. Um, yeah, Swallow This, very strong track. Machine Elves was a interlude track going into the next track, Chase the Dragon. The album is taking a long time. What album is taking a long time? You mean the Papa Roach record? There's another band that's definitely due for an album, Breaking Benjamin, which we all know. When they put out an album, I'll be happy with it, but honestly, I'm not holding my breath. Yes, the Papa Roach one. Yeah, 2026, I see it happening. Chase the Dragon was a very strong track by Hot Milk. And then 90 Seconds to Midnight was very good material. I really enjoyed that. Sunburn from Your Bible. Very strong track for sure. Was very impressed with that one. And then we get to Warehouse Salvation, which who's the band Hot Milk? They're a punk rock, pop punk band. I don't know if it'd be up your alley, Max, but they do have good, strong tracks for the first 9 songs. They have some hard rock hitting tracks that did very good. I'd recommend 90 Seconds to Midnight, Chase the Dragon, Swallow This, Sympathy Symphony, which we will talk about Sympathy Symphony in a second. Um, Asphyxiate was a good song. But yeah, to continue where I was going to talk about after I let you know, Max. The American Machine and Subordinate Angerland, How Do I Make the Devil Fall Asleep? Definitely recommend those songs. And yeah, there were some interlude tracks that I love Breaking Benjamin, but they just put out the same album every few years. Well, this one's gonna take a while. It seems like if Breaking Benjamin keeps this up, we might be waiting until 2026. They never change up anything. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, they're doing all they can, but it is what it is. That's why I listen to other bands in the meantime. That way I don't go super crazy over when's the next Breaking Benjamin album happening. Because I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yep, that's true. But other than that, uh, Warehouse Salvation was very electronic pop stuff that I wasn't feeling for the first 2 minutes of the song. And it started bringing in some metal elements towards the end of the track. That was all right, but granted, it wasn't the best song on the record. But it's all right. 4.25 out of 5 for that one. Sediments is my least favorite. It did have a lot of electronics in it that was kind of bothering me a bit. And it was overall 4.25 out of 5 material. Played it safe, but there were some songs that I had issues with towards the end of the record. Like Asphyxiate was a good song, but not the best song. And then you got Payment of Pain, decent track for sure, but did have a lot of electronics for most of it. I did return to that album. This is why I listen to other bands in different genres so I don't get bored. Yeah, I hear you. I do the same thing. If you know a band's not going to release an album anytime soon, don't bother wasting your time on news reports on it because you're just going to make yourself. Uh, it's going to get to your head. We still waiting on Tool and Deftones? Huh. Don't get me started on that. um, Tool. We're probably going to get a Tool album in 2028 or something. Possibly. They're already in the studio right now working on it. Deftones, I think they have been working on it, but it's almost been 6 years. 5, 6 years since Ohms, which I think it's kind of time to let the Tool cycle begin again. That's funny. But yeah, Sympathy Symphony has grown on me as the closing track on Hot Milk's Corporation Pop album. But overall, I just think the record was average. It wasn't the best material, but it was alright for what it offered. And finally, the last second quarter of 2025 talk recap album that I wanted to talk about. The final one is Lord Virgin. Now, this was a pop record, by the way. So, this was a good record. I was very impressed with Lord's new album, Virgin. I mean, Hammer was good. What Was That was good. There was quite a bit of songs I enjoyed on here that I thought was good material. But there was one song, Broken Glass, that was my least favorite. But everything else did fairly well on this record, for the most part. Grown Woman was good. Clear Blue was alright. So, it was 8 out of 10 material. I don't really have much to say on the Lord album, other than the fact that I did enjoy it for what it was offering. It's not going to be the good album of the year for 2025 because it will be on the decent to good albums of 2025. But I would say it'd be at a spot where I think it's serviceable enough to be at. So, other than that, that's pretty much it for what I reviewed in the second quarter of 2025. So, I appreciate you guys watching the stream. And granted, I know I talked about something serious at the beginning, but it's best to let sleeping dogs lie now and just move on. But from what I basically was saying at the beginning was I'm just reassuring my audience that what is being told is not the truth. And I explained how my truth was. My Deftones video flopped. I've always been the new metal guy. Oh yeah, I know you have, Max. But other than that, I appreciate you guys watching this stream. And granted, I talked about that thing for like a good 12 to 15 minutes. I know I talked about it for a little bit because I was explaining the full truth and context behind it. And granted, people are going to think what they want. They're going to believe what they want. And at the end of the day, you just got to keep pushing forward and doing what you know is the right thing to do. And what you feel is the right thing to do. And the right thing for me to do is continue doing YouTube, continue entertaining you guys on my Brian Delivers You the Goods channel. I know, granted, there are some people that have it out for me lately, but those people, I'm just leaving them alone. I don't need to concern myself with them anymore. Like, they can say what they want, but it's not the truth. So, granted, they can take this stream however they want, and you can believe it, you can not believe it, but at the end of the day, the truth always comes out, and it just did at the beginning of the stream. So definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll have the next members only review coming out and the next Iron Maiden album review coming out for Brave New World. I think that's dropping tonight or tomorrow night. But until then, I appreciate you guys watching this stream. I'm going to get started on the next album to review. And until then, I'll see you guys in my next stream, which I think should be this upcoming weekend when I get around to it. I gotta check my schedule on what I'm doing. But until then, you guys have a good, safe rest of your night, and thanks for watching this second quarter of 2025 talk recap. I'll see you in my next stream and my next review.